Oh, real wicked smart. Welcome to Respawn and Fire, the kick-ass Reverend Gaming Podcast from Affable. So I'm one of your hosts, Adam. Not from Boston, but I'm really good at talking like a Northeasterner, Gumbert. And today we have with us a couple of guests. This is a special PAX East 2025 edition. I've got some cool folks with me who are going to talk all about what we saw and did over there at that conference. I'm going to start with Dan. Dan, hello. Tell everybody about yourself.
Dan, not Danny.
Yes, Dan, singular Dan.
That's got to be established early. My name is Dan. I go by Danomak on YouTube. I was at PAX East like crazy. These people did not hear my voice because we were talking so much, but it healed. I make YouTube videos about video games. Reviews. Sometimes I'll take bad games and I'll review them to see if they're good.
Where do people find that at?
On youtube.com/Danomak.
Nailed it.
Getting better at my intros.
No, you're nailing it. We also have with us another Dan, but it's Danny, CGDannyB. Tell us about you. What's going on?
Hey, everybody, CGDannyB. Okay, hey, guys, CGDannyB here. Also, second year at PAX, had a blast getting to see everybody again. Played a crap ton of games. I am the co-host of Playlog Podcast, comes out every Thursday, where we did our PAX episode last week. And I'm excited to talk with my friends and my dad about indie games. They're fun.
We will explain that joke later, I'm sure. Also, last but not least, we have Matt. Matt, tell everybody about yourself.
Hey, I am glad to be back on. And on so recently, I was just on for Citizen Sleeper 2, which is a lot of fun to just chat with you, Adam, about.
Hold on a sec. Hold on just a second. I think... Sorry, Matt, can you speak a little bit more?
Yes. Hello. Hello.
Okay, I don't think your audio feed is coming through on OBS. Let me just open something up real...
Oh, geez. We also have with us Cozy. Cozy's here running the stuff. Thank you very much, Cozy. This is not your normal chair?
Yes.
Normal spot?
Yes, sorry. Matt, can you speak a little bit more?
Checkity check.
Give me just a minute. This is something I had to cobble some stuff together at the last minute, and things may not have gone exactly according to plan.
Okay.
Now, you zoom in on me again? All right.
No worries. As you work on that, I will explain what's going on. Again, this is a PAX edition. Everybody here has brought 3 games that we saw on the show floor at PAX. We will all talk about the games. If you bring it up, the other people can also comment. Do not worry about it. So these are the 12 best games from PAX East 2025, as well as stuff about panels, other stories we had, why I am somebody's father all of a sudden. All that good stuff is going to be explained as we go along. So that's what today's show is about. Cozy, do you need me to vamp more, or do you think you...
Vamp just a little bit more, but I figured out what the issue is.
Okay, very cool. All right, I guess we'll go ahead. Fretless. Whose was this? As long as it's not Matt's, that would be great, but it is. Okay, so we'll start with Mycopunk. I know Cozy's doing stuff, and that's fine, but Mycopunk is the...
Matt,
Yes.
do a little test.
Checkity check.
All right, perfect. We have audio on OBS. Nothing to worry about for the final recording. It caught everyone else's audio at that point, but the OBS will have to cobble some stuff together later. All right,
no problems. Matt,
go right on.
Tell everybody about yourself.
Sure. Look, as someone who used to stream all the time and has been recording podcasts for like 13 plus years, stuff goes wrong every time. Basically all the time. It's fine. It's all part of the process. I am Matt A.K. Stormageddon, also Matt Storm. I am a podcaster. I've been podcasting for about 13 years. I have 2 video game podcasts. And I was also at PAX East. More about my podcasts later, but this was my 6th, 7th PAX East? I don't know. I've been going since 2020 as a creator. And then before that, the first 3 PAXs I went to just as a enjoyer of video games before I got bogged down in all the content nonsense. But you can find everything that I do at djstormageddon.com. It has links to all the stuff that I do, and I'm sure I will have an opportunity to shill for that much later.
Dope. All right, so we will now start with your game because that's the way the list goes. Talk to us about Fretless.
Yes, so Fretless was one of the... You ever have a game where like it comes, like there's previews for it and all of your friends go, yo, this is a game for you? This happened to me last year at East and at West. Everyone I know is like, Matt, did you play Fretless? Fretless is the game you need to play. And I was like, no, I didn't have time to play it. I missed it. But got a press email for it for PAX East, and was like, oh, we're definitely seeing this game. Ended up getting to interview Rob Scallon, one of the creators and a YouTuber in his own right of the game, kind of created this world and these characters. He credits himself as the main character of the video game. But Fretless, for those who don't know, is a pixel art kind of 16-bit inspired video game, turn-based RPG with card mechanics. So like you pick your abilities like you're picking cards, and when you're in combat, the thing that makes it really interesting is it's a rhythm game, and it has timed hits a la Sea of Stars or Mario RPG, but you have to hit the timed mechanics, both blocks and attacks, on the beat, and tons of custom music in it. It's got a really wacky world, and I was absolutely charmed by it. I am a sucker for turn-based RPG, as anyone who knows me for 5 minutes knows. I am playing 1, 2, 3 of them concurrently right now as we speak. Like, not in this moment, but like active on my playlist.
Oh, your monitors.
Yeah, exactly, right?
You mentioned like at least 3 while we were even starting this up. You're like, Dragon Quest, isn't it? I was like, dang.
But so I'm glad I got to see this. It was really great. And if you like card-based battle systems, if you like turn-based RPGs, if you like old school pixel art aesthetics, and you like rock and roll music and timed hits, this is like the perfect RPG for you. As of now, it's been delayed. It was supposed to come out this month in May, but the studio came forward saying that they wanted more time to fine-tune it, so it'll probably be out closer to the middle or end of the summer. They didn't give an exact date yet, but I'm really excited for folks to get hands-on with it. And I believe there is a demo on Steam currently, as far as I know.
Yeah, it should still be up.
I don't know if it's the Steam demo we played at the show, because I was watching some gameplay of it earlier, and there's definitely a shift in how the game has changed. Okay. I don't know if it's the same demo, but either way, yeah, give it a shot.
I was under the impression it was the same one, because when I spoke to him, I had played their most recent demo at Next Fest, and when they told me it's the same one there, I was like, cool, then I can let Kanai play. I don't have to play this again, but I was like, I love this part. I thought this was dope. Just piggybacking off of Matt, Fretless is sick. It was one last year that I didn't even like see on the show floor until we were on our way out, and I ran into Jacob McCourt talking to the devs, and like, hey, if you haven't met Danny, back and forth. I'm like, this sounds super dope. I'll take the flyer, wishlisted everything. Then played the demo at home this last Next Fest, and then ran into again while Kanai was playing the demo, the guy I went to PAX with this year. And I was like, oh, let me just, in case, I'm sure they don't remember me, but like, oh my God, from last year, yeah. And I'm sure it's the beanie at this point. It's just like, it's that dude, it's that one. But they were like super joyous. Hey, saw the video, but you talked about the game coming out. Thank you. I was like, oh, it's great. Awesome. I'm so excited. Love the demo, etc. And that's when I met Dan. So.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was there for my demo doing my thing, and I was actually on my way out, and I was trying to get like my goodbyes in with the people who helped set it up, and I didn't know what was happening. And I think they were saying Danny or something.
Yeah.
And I heard your name, and my name's Dan, but people have called me Danny. It's happened. And so I like completely pulled their attention off of you, Danny. And then you were like, hey, Dan, nice to meet you. What's going on? Like, you immediately razzed me, and I'm like, perfect. I'm so sorry. Big whoops. I did not mean to I am not that guy. But
it was fair enough.
Moment.
Your profile picture is you. My profile picture is a cartoon gnome. So there was no.
I was looking for a wizard hat. I won't lie. No, but it was it was a memorable. It was a meet cute. That's what they call it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, exactly.
Meet cute.
The millennials.
Love to see it.
But
yeah, Fretless, super sick.
I mean, the team is so. I was talking to them, and like their lives have changed. They've been working this for like 8 years. And they are so invested in their specific focus. So like the artist has like grown as an artist. He's had a whole family come through since they started working on the game. The music's going to be all between guest musicians and themselves. They're into rock. I think one of the main musicians like does the battle music. There's a video for that. And they're so obviously, they're making a game, but it's obviously a labor of love for them. So I was so excited to talk to them. They were so nice. They're such a nice team. The PR team is also nice. Like the whole thing's got good vibes around it. And the game's great. Like it's just so much fun. So it was such a good game. It was like the vibes were so immaculate at that booth.
Dope. And that one's they just announced last week that it was supposed to come out May 22nd, I think is what this video is showing.
Yeah.
But it got delayed to the summer, so that's still coming out, so that'll be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Mycopunk. Cozy, you can pull this one up. This one, so for those who don't know, whenever you go to PAX, there is a media hour. On the first day, you can get in an hour early if you've got content creator or media badge. And the first thing I wanted to do was go to Devolver because it'll be crazy if you don't do it in the media hour. So we went over to Devolver, and then one of the games set up was Mycopunk. So we played that. This was the very first thing I played at PAX. And it is basically if like Borderlands and Risk of Rain 2 had a baby, it's kind of the way I would explain it.
That sounds great.
But it's a 4-player sort of like you go down to the place, there's really hard enemies to kill, you get extract and do the objective and whatever. But there's a cool twist where, again, it's the 4-player co-op, which is fun. And then there's this weird thing where, like, you know, all the guns are also crazy. And that's
just
very
so
much,
you know, I am pulling up all these trailers. It's just sometimes YouTube craps out a little bit because I have a million browsers open, but I assure you that Mycopunk is on its way.
Okay, close all your browsers.
Yeah, come on. What are you doing over there?
I made sure to close all the secret Discords ahead of this stream because I didn't want anything to accidentally sneak in there. We're good.
Obviously. But no, that one was a ton of fun. Again, it's 4-player, first-person shooter, Risk of Rain 2, and had a ton of fun. Again, I was playing with... I want to call somebody out. I'm just going to say Dave Jackson. And Dave Jackson kept on dying constantly because he's not good at video games.
Multiplayer.
Yes, it's 4-player co-op. Yeah, and
It's basically Borderlands,
But the way you respawn is that like their body blows apart because you're robots, and then you like go find their legs and then go attach it to the top half, and that's how you respawn your people. But then it's just like kill this many enemies. Okay, now call in your extraction pod, do the extraction pod thing, and then get out. It's a ton of fun, super slick, played really well, and I was like, cool, because I have tried to play Risk of Rain 2. Couldn't get super into it, but I think the first person co-op thing kind of, I like the idea of Risk of Rain. I just didn't understand it. But when you're like, here's a gun in your hand though, and just kill the robots, I'm like, no problem, can do that all day. So that was very good. And Devolver always makes fun stuff. So shout out to them.
It's always a solid place to be. And I didn't actually get to play this demo, so I won't say too much about it. But it was always busy. That's the reason I couldn't play it. And we'll talk more about it later, but I had my Steam Deck with me, so I was playing demos at PAX at home or at the hotel. But it was just, that was the immediate, like, get home, download it, play the demo.
Oh, yeah.
And just keep track of this game because it looks insane. There's giant mushrooms everywhere. And it sounds even cooler than I thought it was now that you've told me about it.
Yeah, had no idea what it was, and then just like, it's here, let's check it out. I'm like, oh, this is dope. So that was cool.
I mean, that's how you discover like most Devolver hits. Like, I loved Gunbrella, and I didn't know what that was until I played it. Me and Joseph Hooper, I think, rolled up to the booth at the same time. This must have been last year at some point. And I was just like, I'm going to play this game. And I played it and loved it, and played it as soon as it came out. I feel like most Devolver joints, I either see a trailer because I had never heard of it before, and then download a demo and fall in love with it, or when I'm at a live event, I'm like, oh, this looks interesting. Try it and go, oh, I found my new favorite game. Look at that.
My personality has just been rediscovered in this
basically,
one video.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to try this one myself. I had no idea this was even the Devolver booth at first. Like media hour, I'm like, let me find something that catches my eye. And I was literally on the opposite side, playing Bodice with also Dave Jackson and like Jacob McCourt, Luke Lewis, and that's when I ran into No Small Games, Matt. I'm like, oh my god, it's good to see everybody. And then I just went the complete opposite direction. And by then it was too little too late, and this line never ended. I know Kanai got in line and waited for like an hour to finally get up and play. And he was in love with it. He got to be like the big screen, the like 4 split monitors, and was talking about the Borderlands-ness of it, the Helldivers-ness of it. I'm like, okay, I'm into it. I'm sold. One of my biggest fears for indie specifically is the multiplayer ones that are like, hey, this will stay alive if people are playing it. And if PAX has anything to say about it, people are excited, but when they leave, how much are they going to stick around? I'm just haunted by Karma Zoo every year. I'm like, fuck, that was so much fun. But like, is anyone playing Karma Zoo right now? I sure hope they are. I hope that game's still doing well. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing this one come out. And if it has its Helldivers moment, that'd be super great. I'd love that.
All right, for sure. Now, the next one, I don't know how to say it. I'm assuming it's Soulmates.
It is Soulmates.
Nailed it. Perfect.
And,
points for Adam. There we go.
Crushed it. The best way to think about this game is Overcooked in space. It's
amazing.
you and 3 other players, up to 3 other players. You're on a spaceship. There's a helm. You can move out of the way of obstacles. You can move the shields around, and there's enemy ships. There's asteroids that come your way. There's batteries you got to keep charged, and everyone's just moving back and forth. Obviously, just like in Overcooked or games like that, you want to try to keep up and have like your role is this, your role is that, but the wheels fall off the proverbial wagon pretty quick, and that's the kind of game it is.
This basically looks like Space Team meets Overcooked. Like,
Yeah.
it looks great. Like,
Yeah.
I was just gonna say it looks like multiplayer chaos, and those are some of the most fun games.
Yeah, this was one of those booths at PAX. Again, like there were so many booths this year that I feel like had constant lines, and if not for the content creator pass, I might not have gotten a chance to play it this year because every time I went there, I was like, I don't want to. It's 4 people, and it's gonna take a while. But it was a lot of fun, and they really can't go wrong with this kind of formula. And one of my favorite things about it is that you can mix co-op between local and online. So let's say me and Danny are playing local co-op, like the bros that we are, and then Matt and Adam are online. We could just join like that. Like that for some reason,
awesome.
when they told me that, I was like, oh, I guess it isn't so common all the time.
No.
And they came up with the game, I think, well, they wanted something like this during the pandemic, and they just made it. So they were like, all right, let's just make the game we want, which I guess is how a lot of games get made. So,
Oh yeah, baby.
yeah. Did anybody else get a chance to see or play this game?
I did not. It was on my pre-PAX list. I was like, hopefully I get around to this one. And I walked by it umpteen thousand times going through that middle section. I just never one that I swung by, but it looks great. I think it seems like a great stream 4-player co-op kind of adventure. I think we just have the goofy, overcooked screaming matches at. Looks awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's kind of a proven thing at this point, right? Like,
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
I'm saying that we'll just have to, the 4 of us will have to play it when it comes
Oh,
out
yeah.
on stream.
That's the obvious
just do it.
sequel to this conversation.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
My problem with multiplayer games on the show floor is if I'm not rolling around with the rest of the Fun and Games crew, shout out to Jeff
Yeah.
and Sarah, like I have to team up with randos, which can be fun, but also can be a drag depending. Just if your play styles don't mesh, if you're grokking the game faster or slower than them, whereas if like you're playing with your friends, you can just yell at them and make fun of them, which is the joy. But I did walk by it did look cool, but I didn't get hands on with it.
That's what Steph did from Boss Rush. She and I played this together, and we were just confused the whole time. And we had a blast. It was fun. We didn't know what we were doing. The ship was on fire like that, and it was a great time. I think it's, and don't quote me on this, but maybe quote me on this, that I think it's just 2 developers, and they're great. The 2 that I met were great. So if it's at least 2 developers,
Minimum 2.
right? So they were great. So all in all, again, another good vibes booth. Lots of good vibes booths this year. It was a strong show floor for indies this year.
Yes.
For sure.
That's all I got for Soulmates.
Next one, Fresh Tracks. This is a D&E game.
Danny, yes, it is. It is mine. Fresh Tracks. So one of the things I repeated so many times this PAX was I saw your show at, which showcase was it again? Because we just had III, Galaxy, like 7 indie showcases right before PAX. And I'm like, I saw your game somewhere. I forget which one. And I swear Fresh Tracks was at the III, but I could be wrong. But I knew they were here, couldn't find them. Courtney from Boss Rush, like they're over there. They're right next to T-Mobile. If you go around the corner, hang a left, you'll find them. So I found the little cubby, got in line, chatted with the devs for a little bit. I'm like, I've been tracking this game. It looks dope. And in waiting in line, they told me so much that I just didn't know about Fresh Tracks as I was sitting there. The music's written. There's like 4 gods that you're playing at, like playing 4, and each one has a different style of music, that it's the same song, but there's the heavy metal, there's the orchestral one. I'm like, yo, that's sick. And I didn't get a chance to see if they are separate levels or it's the same level, just different energy of music or how, diverse that gets. But it is basically like an on rails Beat Saber, where you're jumping from track to track. You'll fly by and you have your swords, and there's like a tree, so you can slash the trees to get them out of the way. There's hills you can jump over. There's like curved mountains, so you kind of want to lean left or lean right so that you're not taking damage or blocking or getting knocked off the tracks or anything. It's just really dope. As someone who has like just dabbled with Beat Saber but never has a desire to set up their VR to fully commit to it, this seems like the perfect way of like, cool, I can do another version of Beat Saber that has a little more my speed in it. I was a huge fan of the visual style. The music was fun. I got to the point where I think I died twice in this, like the roguelike cycle. I lost my items and everything. And I'm like, cool, let me just go through these menus. There's a couple tracks I didn't hear. And the dev's like, hey, I think it's time for you to get up. I'm like, my bad. Has it been that long already? Hey, great game. This is awesome. I can't wait to play more, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I think it's so hard to say more about it when it is so focused on like hearing the music and experiencing the flow of the gameplay. But I had just fell in and lost track of how long I'd been sitting here playing this game. It was really fun.
I need to take us on a slight tangent and just point out that there were at least 6 games that had rhythm game elements.
Yep.
3 of them were RPGs, full stop. And then there were others that were like just other games like Fresh Tracks. And like, it's just wild to me. And none of them were the same. Even the 3 RPGs that had rhythm game elements were all different. The ones I remember off the top of my head is Fretless, we talked about before, and Nocturne. Yeah. Both of them completely different. And so like, that's wild to me. I remember talking to the Fretless devs and I was like, yeah, when I played Hi-Fi Rush, one of the best games ever made, I was like, I didn't think you could do character action game and a rhythm game. And then now I'm playing Fretless, a turn-based RPG rhythm game. And it's just like, I love, as the people like us who grew up playing games of a certain genre start to make games, they're like, well, how do I mix this up? And like Fresh Tracks is such a perfect example of it. I didn't get hands-on with it. I watched some folks play it, and I know a bunch of other folks were talking it up. I definitely want to try out the demo, but like, it just makes me, I'm a big music nerd, so it makes me so excited that so many different game styles are incorporating rhythm game elements, and I can't wait to see what other new stuff folks come up with.
It's wild because games like this are, it's not like if Guitar Hero was an RPG. Like, it's so much more than that now. We're at this other level where it's like, no, we're going to intimately marry rhythm game elements to another genre, which is also going to be fully fleshed out. And it's going to feel like this whole new thing. And I'm looking at this. This is another game that got by me at PAX. Mm-hmm. And I thought it was just skiing when I saw it. I literally like breezed by it. I was like, a skiing game. Got it. And maybe I'll swing by later and see it. But this is not at all what I expected. And it looks, like you said, it's like Beat Saber.
Yep.
And it's got like that. I can't even hear the music right now, but I'll check it out later. Like I can tell it's just rhythmic and dope as heck. Like, so it looks great.
Yeah, I think when I spoke with the devs, I think their comparison, and then some devs like it, some don't, like it's this mixed with this. And I was like, oh, we're not really that. One team not to be mentioned, we won't even bring that up. But anyway, but yeah, they were like, Beat Saber meets Hades, and I think that was like the god's energy of it, because I was really confused. I'm like, I'm not seeing the Hades part. And that's when they explain the different type of music, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm seeing it. That's really cool. That's sick. Yeah, this is one that I think, like, I got my experience here at PAX. I'm so excited to see more, and I think I'm just gonna like pin it as a sticky note in the back of my brain somewhere until it's at whatever showcase. You're like, hey, it's available today. I'm like, bet, let's get in, let's go, let's Fresh Tracks. It's fun, it's cool.
So here's the thing. All great points and eloquently put. I'm not going to breeze over the fact that Danny might be the only person in PAX history to get brushed off by the people presenting. They're like, you've been playing too long, you got to leave. I've never had that happen personally.
Me neither.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
now,
nobody's throwing me off.
There was the long line. We were sitting there. I got it. Now, I am not one to flaunt my media badge. This year, I did a little bit. Because there was a game we talk about a little bit where I went to sit down, like, sorry, that's just for media. And I flipped my badge, like, my apologies, have a seat. And I was like, okay, you bet your ass. When I was talking to him in line, they're like, cool, you want to play on the Steam Deck as opposed to, the monitors. I'm like, I can make that work. And I think I've seen other people play games like, man, they've been here too long. Like, they're really bad at it. And I don't think I was bad at this game by any means, but I think they were just like, hey man, our line is still going. Like, we should probably, because now when I sat, I didn't sit with the devs. I didn't talk with the devs. They just, hey, enjoy the game, which I love that. I do enjoy, like, let me play, let me ask questions if I have them, and then, scoot on, do whatever. But yeah, I think I was the one time anyone's been like, all right, hit the road, bud, get out of here. I was like, okay,
that's
this
wonderful.
is my first time.
I love it.
And last.
I'm never going back to PAX again.
Never again. So we're going to move on a little. What do you call them when it's in between?
Interlude?
A little bit of an interlude. I was going to say an interrogative, but I don't think that's correct either.
Not the right word.
Lock it in.
Yeah, locked in, everybody. Next up, we're going to go to panels, right? because that's part of PAX is there are a lot of panels, and that's sort of a draw on top of playing games. So this is an open invitation for anyone to talk about panels that we went to. I only did a couple. So, Cozy, let me know when you can get my picture up, because this is the one thing I want to
have all the pictures prepared. Do you want me to specifically go to the pictures that show panels, or can we just go through all the pictures now? What do you want to do?
Let's do the panel pictures, because I think there's only 2 panels that had pictures on them anyways.
So I'm assuming you mean the... Oh, yeah, you got the Mafia panel. Oh, okay, all right.
And then the other one's a video game panel. Yeah, no problems. So I will go ahead and say this. This is PAX is a crazy place, right? Because we all have media or content creator, whatever. We have badges to be able to do stuff. I was with somebody who will not be named, Luke Lewis, who got an email from 2K to like, hey, do you want to come to the Mafia panel? And Luke was like, cool, sounds good. I'll do that. I'll cover it for Lukewarm or for Crossplay, whatever he ends up doing, right? I was just with Luke. I was like, I mean, I'll go if they don't care. Yeah. So we have, I guess he's the 2K representative, comes down. It's in the main theater, so it's in the biggest theater there. He comes down. After, like, there's people have already been filling the seats and everything. He gets, like, there's like 4 or 5 of us. There's some other people there. He gets all of us. We all go up there. They move us immediately to the very front row. I have 2 pictures here in the very front row, because they just moved us up there. And I'm like, well, what a crazy flex for someone who was not supposed to be here. So I hope nobody from PAX is listening. I mean, I had a media badge. It's fine. But it was super cool to be able to do that. Hosted by Greg Miller. I like Greg Miller. It's cool. And this panel was really neat because, again, I got to sit in the front row. Super cool. Next to all the developers. But, so I like Mafia. I've always enjoyed those games. I have fun. But for like Mafia the Old Country, I was like, oh, that's a game that'll come out this year, I suppose. And then going to this presentation and seeing everything they showed off, like, man, that game actually looks kind of fire. So it worked. If your idea was to show some stuff off at a convention to get people excited, congratulations, you made it work on me. So I have a fun little story where I get to sit right there in the front row and stare Rick Miller right in his eyes, but then also actually get to see like a really cool game that I was not expecting. I don't have it with me, it's all downstairs, but I had the pin that they gave us was a knife, because apparently a big thing, Mafia the Old Country is, it takes place in like 1910 or 1913 or whatever, like when the Mafia is just starting in Sicily. And they're like, yo, knife fights were a big thing. So there's like a whole mechanic where you just fight another person with like a switchblade, and it's like a whole mechanic. So all our pins are like little knives in like intricate like rose pattern or whatever. So it's really, really cool. But that was a fun panel.
It's funny. I have a similar story, not from this PAX, but from East last year. So it was East last year was right before 16 came out. I think 16 was coming out in a couple months. And they were doing a panel at PAX East. And it was a similar thing. Like, I know Kat, who's at Square Enix, shout out to Kat. And like, I think I had reserved in advance, but I couldn't remember. But a bunch of other friends who also had media badges were going to this panel for 16. They were just going over some of the comments. It was like an in-depth look right before the game came out. And so I kind of went in with them, and it was the same thing. Like, they ushered us right to the front, got to sit right in the front, listen to them talk about this game. And like, going into the last year, I was like, 16 looks cool. I didn't really dig 15. I'm not sure. It's a character action game. I don't know if I'm going to dig it. And then I watched that panel and went, oh, I'm so in. I'm buying this game day one. And then I played probably the best demo for an RP, for a Final Fantasy game ever, because I think everybody who played that demo bought that game because it was such a good slice of the game. But sitting in the front row, it's the same thing. It's got this kind of like magical pull. Like, you get in a front row seat to something that you're kind of excited about, and then it kind of gets you stoked. It's funny, this year I didn't do a ton of panels. Like, we were all at the trivia panel. 2 of us were losers on that panel, but we'll get to that. But
aggressive. We'll get to it.
But I usually do go to a lot of panels, but this year, I don't know, I think I just overbooked myself. Also, I had a lot of evening plans. And so like, I wasn't feeling well one of the nights. And so I went to bed early instead of going to the video game Tinder panel, which I heard was awesome as always. I usually check that one out and I missed it, but video game trivia was a blast. That was such a fun panel to be in the front row, and Hayes, the panelists, chortle and chuckle and pick on him a little bit.
Yeah, Cozy, the other pictures from panels will all be the video game trivia panel, which is the only other one that I went to anyway. So that's perfect.
Getting them right now.
I did go to the video game Tinder one.
Yep. I did go to that one as well. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was cool.
Ace is wild.
Love Ace.
Ace will say whatever the hell comes into his brain.
That note about Alexander the Jar from Elden Ring sent me packing. I was like, dude.
I mean,
yeah.
Funny thing about the Tinder panel is last year, or maybe it was at West. I don't know. It was last year. Ben Starr was on the panel, and one of the dateable characters was the Joker from Balatro. Fast forward like a year, and he's playing Jimbo, and it's
Jimbo,
like, did we predict that? Like, this is very funny.
We set it up. We make those connections.
Yeah.
Got to video game Tinder. It was great because I missed it last year. It was one of our we went so hard our first day. Like, we need to let's chill. Let's finish convention day and then go back to the hotel, thinking like all the panels are streamed. Like, nope, this one wasn't, so we couldn't watch someone from the apartment. But yeah, had a great time being in the room this time. Yeah, I didn't get to speak with Asa a lot last year, but this year was seeing him on the panel. We went out to lunch, Adam, Asa and I went out to lunch the one day before video game trivia. It was just great getting to actually speak with Asa for like an extended period of time. Awesome. And yeah, I love the panel, so that was really dope.
He referred to, because you're obviously deciding whether or not you would have relations with the video game character for the listeners at home.
To fuck them.
Yep. And the jar from Elden Ring, he described that would be an efficient relationship. And I was so upset because he's so right.
He is correct. Yeah.
So it was wild. It was fun. My first time going to that panel. I don't go to panels too much at PAX. Yeah. So I got dragged out, and I mean that because I was like in my hotel. And usually when I go to my hotel, that's like the cocoon is closed behind me, but trying to live my life a little more when I go to PAX this time around, which I did. And I will talk about the price I paid for that in just a moment. But yeah, that was a blast. Yeah.
100%. I think outside of those two, I went to the keynote with Greg Miller, hosted by Ben Starr, interviewing him. That was if you follow Kind of Funny, if you listen to Greg talk for any extended period of time, you've heard most of the things that he said at that panel. This is kind of like, I think the one new thing, at least for me, was Ben had asked, like, is there anything you regret in your career? And Greg started talking a lot. And I think this episode's out now. I think it was this week's Kind of Funny podcast. So if you haven't heard it, I think you can. But Greg's thing, he brought up the Me Too movement and, what happened there, and talking about like some people from IGN and how it affected them, and him being like, I hope I've never made anyone feel that way. And brought up an Up at Noon moment that he expands upon, like, I did this, and at the time it was a funny haha, but like now I'm like, God, if I like really fuck with this person, like, I don't know, I've never spoke to them, but I can only assume that I had. And it was a very like vulnerable moment, which Greg, not one to hesitate to be vulnerable. But that was fun. Like, that was the first time I was in the proximity of Greg Miller, as like, I'm like, oh, my friends talk to Greg all the time, and then whatever event, whatever. So that was as cool. I'm like, oh my God, he's like 60 feet away from me. Oh my God. It was a very cool thing. But no, great panel. I really enjoyed that. I definitely recommend if you want to hear Greg talk about just the coming up of starting Patreon and building that group. And again, if you're Kind of Funny, you've heard these stories millions and millions of times, but it was a fun thing to see him and Ben Starr bounce off of each other. And then, of course, video game trivia, which...
Well, here's what I want to point out, because video game trivia, hosted by Jacob McCourt, best fucking panel.
Always great.
PAX West probably had the best panelists of all time. Because I was on it.
I mean, we just did East, so
I'm just trying to give myself a big up, son. Relax.
We were better.
Only thing here about this picture. Well, again, we're going to talk about it because two of the people here were on the panel.
Yep.
Matt, this is your picture, correct?
Actually.
This is my picture. Yeah.
I hate the back of my head.
I was going to say, you can comment on how shiny and bald you look. Can we get in there?
Yeah, my main issue is that, so before I shaved my head, I had dreadlocks. So I did not know what the back of my head shape was. I actually don't hate my head shape overall. The one thing that I don't like is that, that, I guess it's that top of your spine that attaches your skull to your whatever, that little knot right there where you see that if on the visual people, there's like a little line on the back of my head where that knot is. And I didn't know that was there until I shaved my hair off. Because I was like, why would I ever know what
really
that...
Getting into it.
Yeah, I mean, Cozy's a little... The problem is also because this is like day 2 or 3 after I've shaved, so I have a little bit of stubble, and it it darkens in that area.
I will say, if I got a better angle, you would have basically looked like a Diglett, and that would have been fun.
Wow. Yeah, my head is turned a little bit, but it's just funny not knowing what your head looks like, and then shaving like that's what it is.
I got you. Now you don't have to wonder anymore.
Yeah, but now as far as the panel though, good. I mean, let me tell you. Filled room. Jacob is great. Oh my God, Jacob's so good.
Always.
Yeah, what's so funny about that is he was like, "Oh, how did it go? How did it go?" Afterwards, I'm like, "Dude, you had 300 and something people wrapped around your finger, and you dealt with all of us being doofuses." And he's so good at that specific. Yeah, Jacob is. I think we were talking about this, Danny. He's like the glue that he's like spreading out. Like and he's always there. Like I saw him like 4 times on Sunday. I was like, dude, I said goodbye to you like 3 times already. Like, but it was so much fun. And it went by so fast. I kept trying to tell myself like hanging out. This is fun. But it was just moving, and the audience demolished us. I think they might have been Googling. I don't know, man.
Listen, I called him out because afterward, okay, we'll start with the panel. We'll lead to the party outside after. But yeah, so it was myself and Dave Jackson, Dan and Trina from Gamerheads, and then it was Lightweight Gaming and Steve Saylor as the third team. Video game trivia, if you've seen it before, always a great time. Jacob kills it every time, even when I have no idea about the games being picked. But I had a blast. The first like 3 questions, I was just like frozen. I'm like, fuck, what do I do?
They were so awkward.
I'm so
weird.
I was like, well, how do I? Oh, I just want to play the game, but I'm so nervous to get it wrong. I want to get it right for Dave's sake and everything. But as the game kept going and the audience was getting involved, and like, there was one point I called someone out. I think they were like, "What's the answer to this question?" And some dude off in the corner like, "This is the answer." I'm like, "Hey, you're not in line. Shut up. You're not playing."
It was the box art, and they were able to guess that it was this random ass McDonald's game.
Yeah.
And they like nailed the name.
Yeah.
They were like, not only like, oh, McDonald's wrong. Like they were like, here is the title of the game. I'm like, and then you said, this is either the only game you've ever played or you've been Googling. There's no in between.
Yeah, I was in line. That lady literally, like the minute it popped up, she was like, oh, and she like raised her hand and knew exactly what it was to get Jacob's attention. She knew it off top.
That's crazy.
But it could also be that was the one game they had when they were like 10.
Right?
You know,
because
totally.
Our PS2 generation, we were THQ Nordic fiends. If there was a movie tie-in movie, we owned them. We had all the cars, all the Incredibles, blah, blah, blah. So like, I've been there where I don't have real games. I have, games. So I could totally see someone like, we got this out of McDonald's Happy Meal box at one point and blah, 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 blah. And totally, no shame on that. We've all been there.
Not
we all didn't have our money because kids,
Sneak King came from that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Quick question.
Those are great moments.
Was the game McDonald's Treasureland Adventure?
Yep. Nailed it.
That was exactly it.
Yeah, it was.
I figured it would be that one because that game, the team that made that game went on to make Gunstar Heroes, which is like a famous
Of course they did.
shoot 'em up on the Sega Genesis. So
are you
it's
the
one of
who
those
answered
games
the
that
question during the
has.
panel?
I mean, I make these trivia things myself sometimes, but I figured it would be that game because it has some cachet because the team that made it went on to do cool stuff after.
Awesome. Wild. And that's so much trivia right there. Like it was.
Yeah.
It was iCarly was also a big part of this. We didn't talk about that.
A room full of people singing
excited.
iCarly.
So excited. Jacob's editing this. It's hopefully out by the end of the month. I'm stealing that footage. I'm going to make it a TikTok. I cannot wait.
What footage is that, Danny? Why don't
you tell everybody what happened?
So what happened was I'm doing my best not to spoil the actual trivia. I want you guys to go watch when Jacob's done. But one of the sections of trivia was, here's this game. What does it sell for on eBay? Right? Like, here's the limited edition of Club Penguin that only developers got, et cetera, et cetera. But the one was, here's the iCarly game for the Wii, but it's a special edition that comes with the pillowcase, still sealed. How much does this go for? So Dave and I were like, doing the guess, whatever. And I forget who said what that led into it, but like, I think Jacob and I just started like, I know, you'll see. It starts singing the song. And then like the last line, like the audience joined in. I'm like, oh, this is it. So I let them go. And then they fade out. I'm like, no, live live, breathe. I'm like, keep going. And then like they pick up again and then slow down again. I'm like, motherfuckers, come on. Now, all of you on the panel have mentioned like, I reacted like this, or I was waiting for this. And I was, in my world, I was Sabrina Carpenter controlling an audience. I had the stage. So I saw none of my fellow panelists and how they did. I guess Lightweight, she's like, they kept stopping. I'm like, please get to my favorite part. Steve had the great moment of using her one F-bomb right after that. And I would just love to see Steve just like, I
looked at him because I was a little befuddled myself. I did not watch a lot of iCarly, if at all. And I was looking around at the audience like, how do you all know this song? I mean, okay, that's fine. But then I looked around I was like, and Steve was like, and I wanted him to look at me because I was like, I don't know.
But yeah, the highlight of the panel, win or lose, however it went, being able to run, which was so funny because I kept telling people, dude, I led a room of like 100 people in the iCarly theme song, and like it was like 350. I'm like, was it that many? Man, numbers. It makes sense when you say it, but I was like, that's 100 people. Yeah, that's about right.
That's what we were talking about. That you're like 100. I'm like, dude, I have news. But the only thing I had that was close to that was when I used 69 in one of my guesses.
Baby.
Nice.
And I was able to get the whole room to say nice to me.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, that's cool. But then you got a whole theme song out of it. So I understand that neuron is it's addictive. Man. That feeling
was great. I know the typical Jacob cycle, I think, is you do a retrospective, you do a video game trivia, and then I guess, I don't know if there's another, like, there's a Jacob panel that joined in, but I'm like, Jacob, if you come with something new or you somehow run out of friends for trivia, I'm always down for another one. Yeah. Let me know. Jacob always does great panels.
He does good.
Always great. Fun. Always great.
So I'll do another one if you need me.
That would be a good moment to put on a future trivia panel. Like, what song did the audience sing in 2025?
Right? Trivia about the trivia panel? Yeah, that's a little meta, but I like it.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be crazy. All right. Well, I think that's all the panels. We're going to move on to more games. I will say, this is the problem, is that we all are good. We're good at talking. We all like to talk. We are almost 45 minutes, so I think we'll go just a little quicker to get to the other 8 games. But we're doing fine, but we'll go through it. So the next one is Gigasword. I think a fan favorite of everybody that we spoke to.
It was my pick, but basically all of us. I think in the listing it was mine because I negotiated it because we want to, behind the scenes, we want to cover as many games as possible. We did this on Funny Games. Our episode's going to be out this Friday as of when you're hearing this, and Jeff, Sarah, and I do the same thing, right? Like we pool our picks and kind of like make sure we all have 3 different ones so we can talk about as many games as possible. But yeah, Gigasword is one of those games that I was shouting from the rooftops the minute I played it, and basically the minute I posted it in our Discord group chat, Danny was like, yeah, let's go. That game. Dude. So Gigasword, for those who don't know, is a 2D action platformer. Think Shovel Knight meets 2D Legend of Zelda, but good, because there was a bad one of those a while ago. And the basic premise of the game is the main character has a giant, like, 2-hander sword. Think like Cloud style. You can see the trailer now on screen. And basically how it works is when you jump or fight with that sword, you move pretty slowly. You can't jump very high. But to solve puzzles or to platform higher, you have to plant the sword in the ground. Like, say there's an elevator, you plant the sword in the elevator and then climb up and then use a crank to like lift the sword and bring it up to the second level and then continue adventuring. It's a really awesome concept, and like I'm a sucker for a 2D platformer. Shovel Knight is one of my favorite games of all time, and this basically has that vibe. Like the minute I sat down, I said to Jeff, who was watching, within less than 30 seconds, I went, oh no, I could play this all day. Like it was that vibe. Like I immediately locked in on it. There's a photo of me playing this game in the reel of photos that I submitted because it's literally me. Like I'm just so focused because I'm already all in on this game. But yeah, if you like 2D platformers, if you like puzzle games, if you like Zelda, Shovel Knight, and those kinds of games, this is one of those. And it's a solo dev named Jack. He's also a YouTuber, has been working on this game basically solo for quite some time, is hoping to release this year, next year. We didn't really get details, but like he wants it to come out as soon as we do. Like he is very eager to put it out. And in our episode, we have a chat with him as well that you'll hear. Gigasword is easily my game of show. I think I awarded it for Funny Games, our game of show. Like it's all I could think about.
Yeah, I loved this game. This was why I didn't have any other demos to play at night on my Steam Deck, because I was playing Gigasword, and the demo took me like 2 or 3 hours to beat. But the booth was simple, but they had this giant sword. I have a great picture with it, a couple, and Jack's brother was there. I don't know if you guys caught this.
Okay.
And he was like cosplaying basically as the main character, but Jack's brother is huge. Like he is just like genetically and physically just like a big guy. And I was holding the sword at one point. And I was like, hell yeah, I got a busted sword kind of thing. And then he walks over to me dressed with his gauntlets on, and I didn't even I looked at him, I was like, oh, this is yours, isn't it? He was like, yeah. And I was allowed to have the sword, but it was one of those moments where I was like, you can have it back now, sir. Here you go. But it was cool. Like the conversations with Jack, I mean, you guys all talk to him. He's just so passionate about this game. And I mean, the design around the sword is so smart. It's a burden, but you need it. And it's really cool to use when you have it, but then you can't make a jump, and then you slow dodging. Right. And it's just so smart to go back and forth between having it and not having it and how it all works. play the demo, please. It's so good.
Yeah. Not much more to add outside everything you guys said. I totally agree with. We talked about Game of Show. I tried to get a 3D model of like the gnome to do our own Game of Show trophies. Just all fell apart like leading in. So
same.
hopefully for next time. But yeah, I had said we had our stuff printed and ready to go. Like this and another game we'll talk about that. I'm like, these were the two front runners for me. Like I love these games. I think universally across our group, these two games people loved. Gigasword once, yeah, like you said, Matt, like, dude, everyone's got to check us out. Fuck yes, I sat in line today. I played it. It was so fucking fun. Also a huge fan of Shovel Knight. Had my short form interview with Jack. We talked, held a sword, talked about the game, when can we expect to play it, et cetera, et cetera. Just a short interview, but it felt so like, this, like, why I love indies is the passion project, the love behind it. Like I made this because I wanted it to exist. And when it wants to exist and it comes together so well, like it hits that level of just like intrigue and passion. And I'm all for it. And this is one that if I had tonight, I could just lay in bed and power through until my brain eventually shuts off. Like the game is fun.
Yep. I had an appointment for the other Akupara game, and once it was done, I was like, by the way, I've heard about this Gigasword. Let me sit over here. And I sat over there for 40 minutes and played that on top. So it was very, very good. Excellent game. Next
This is
up.
a meaty demo.
Yeah, it's very good. I played it for like 30 minutes. I did not beat the demo. The next game, though, is Motion Rec, or is it Motion Record? I've been thinking about this.
I think it's rec short for record.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Basically. This is another one of mine. This I have to shout out Jeff and Sarah for pulling to our attention. So I think it was West. It was either West or last year's Eats. Time is a lake. It all blurs together. We played a bunch of games by the publisher Playism, who had a bunch of really cool, unique indie games. There was one that was like Splatoon meets Bubble Bobble, 3D platformer puzzle game. It was awesome. Last year at some point we'd played, and so we wanted to make sure we hit their booth. And on Sunday we finally did. And Motion Rec was one of the games that Sarah clocked. And immediately, as soon as she was done, she was like, "Matt, sit down. You have to play this." If you are a fan of games like Gato Roboto, if you like puzzle games, this game is basically like Gato Roboto meets insert funky platforming puzzle game. You are a little robot, you get a cassette power up, and this allows you to record your movement and then play it back. So getting across platforms, like you can see in the trailer now, like using raising platforms to record something to make yourself go up. It's such a brilliant, simple concept. Which is some of my favorite kind of indie game, because the best puzzle games aren't complicated. The best puzzle games have two portals, right? Best puzzle games have one simple notion, and then it's how you use it. And on top of that, I'm a sucker for a cute aesthetic. I'm a music nerd, so like I got a cassette keychain from playing this game. Like it's got that vibe, but I love like a two-tone pixel aesthetic with color highlights. That's basically how Gato Roboto looked, and this kind of has that vibe of like hit indie game to me. It reminds me of a Leckhead a lot too, which was a puzzle platformer that was really great. So yeah, I can't recommend this enough. I don't think there's a demo currently, but you can wishlist it on Steam. But this it also has like minutes kind of aesthetic, like it's that black and white aesthetic that a ton of indie games have. And yeah, I loved it and can't recommend it enough.
Yeah, I had a demo with it too. Felt the same.
Cool. Hell yeah. I passed it so many times. I never got to the Playism booth, which was sad because they had stuff I definitely want to check out. And this was one of them. And it's on the wish list. I'm very excited to. You have any date on this one? 2025. So
yeah, sometime this year. They didn't commit to a hard date, but my guess is towards the end of the year.
Yeah. The demo had a timer, which every demo did, but this demo also had a challenge with the timer. Okay. And at the end, when I was done, the Playism people were like, "So did you get both secrets?" And I was like, "No," but I saw that my time was running out. But they like kind of challenged you to finish the demo by getting both secrets. So I sort of like streamlined learning the what do you call it, mechanics of this game. And it's such a, it screws with you because you're looking at the puzzle and you can kind of see what's happening, where you have to go and the shapes you have to make, but you'll just wind up like making all these different recordings and hitting a wall. And you're like, "Oh, man." Yeah. But it's so simple, like Matt said, and it's the puzzles are where it gets complicated, and I cannot wait. It's so fun.
Dope. Next up, I think it's pronounced The Merleys.
Yeah, baby, the Merleys. Yeah, so this was at the art booth. I don't know if you said the E, whatever. They had just a small little cubby. They had 4 laptops set up, each with their own game, and they kind of just had one line, and once one freed up, you're like, do I want this one or not? The Merleys is actually one I've been following for a minute. I've been planning to make like a indie preview video. It just keeps getting pushed back and back. But it is this very like Pikmin-esque adventure game. You play as these little like penguin gnome looking guys, and I am a sucker for a little guy in normal sized world.
Hell yeah.
The tinykin Pikmin, I fucking love it. It's every time will get me on the hook. So when I saw this and I'm like, oh shit, it's at PAX, I gotta play it. I jumped in. The demo started a little confusing. The Pikmin whistle pull together mechanic is a little strange, but I think once you wrap your head around the idea that it is like a whistle, it's hold the button to inhale, release to whistle. I think I got it, because the amount of times I would click and I'm like, I'm not calling my guys, I'm disconnecting, I'm not sure what's happening. So it was a little confusing. But once I wrapped my head around it, it was great. The world is so pretty. It's a lot of like exploring nooks and crannies. You're finding other Merleys and you're bringing them back to your base so you can rebuild your army of little bird gnomes. And as you're exploring, you'll find big objects that need 5 Merleys to lift, or they need 10 Merleys to lift. So you need to collect more people on the map, come back, move it all. Really simple in process. The only issue that I had was towards the end. There was this little puddle of water that for some reason, like you swim in it, it does a little swim animation, but this particular puddle would break the Merleys, and like they would swim and then just fly upward like through the geometry, and like I lost my team. And what I needed to do, the thing I needed to do, and it's not a combat focus game. There is no like, I got to run from the things, I'm going to die. So like your team shouldn't be able to die. So the fact that they disappeared was like, oh, I've been soft locked. I can't actually complete this mission because I can't move the thing because I need my whole team. And I don't believe they had the developers there. I think it was just PR publishers who were there. So he's like, hey, I think that's a bug. I'm like, okay, cool. Can I fish in it? He's like, I'm not sure. Basically, you're going to get the guy. You're going to go to the tent. You're going to unzip the tent. You beat the demo. I'm like, okay, I kind of want to finish it. So we found out if I went and fast traveled away and then back, it did respawn my team. I jumped over the water, got the last guy, opened the tent, finished the demo. Few bugs here and there. Again, bound to happen. The amount of games that had bugs this year, just when you're playing them, it always happens. That's why they're here. But I was still so in love with this. The aesthetics there, the cute atmosphere, the adorable characters. Some of them have like witty conversations where one's like, get out of my batch of grass. I don't want you in here. He's like, just telling you we have a home. He's like, well, I don't want your home, but maybe I do. Okay, I'll go back to your place, but you better not jump me when I get there. Like just goofy little silly conversations. And yeah, it's fun. I think it's still early enough in development. There's nowhere near a date, but super precious. I want more.
Hey, Cozy.
Yeah.
This team is French. It's made by French people.
But are they
Love
a
a French people game.
I don't know what part of. Honestly, I don't know the difference between any French people. So,
because
I mean,
I have a lot of respect for the
There
people
might
of
be-
France, but like you can't just say, "Oh yeah, the people are French." There are so many countries around the world where people speak French.
the
Just
team
saying.
is. I'm on Steam. It's RT France is the name of the studio. So probably France.
I say they are the publishers. I think
Or
the
publisher.
devs are Darjeeling.
Darjeeling. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
a tea.
Oh, okay. News to me. I had no
Darjeeling.
idea.
Nailed
I was
it.
like, I don't know what this word is.
Cozy likes anything that's French normally. That's why I just pointed it out to him.
Cozy must be loving Claire Obscura.
I was going to
then.
say Cozy probably hates Claire Obscura.
What I
Least French
joked.
thing I've heard of.
So the thing with me is like typically the first half of any year I'll spend playing games in my backlog, games that I wanted to catch up on. Second half of the year will be spent catching up on games of the current year in question. And so I joked on the podcast that like in October, I'm finally going to sit down with Expedition 33 and be like, yo, guys, I just discovered this game called Expedition 33. Nobody's talking about it now, but it is incredible. Incredible.
Love
It
it.
does look like Paris, France. Is
Nailed
the
it.
answer for our
Got it.
team here.
Got it.
Thank you for putting it on my radar because I did not see this game.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just
like I
wish listed
said,
it. Yeah.
It was in a
I'm all
little
in.
cubby. So, but yeah, it's super adorable. I can't wait for more. Matt, I'm glad that we're once again on the same kind of Little Guy in Little World.
Oh, Little Guy in Little World is the best. Tinykin, the reason I played it is Little Guy in Little World. Like, I mean,
a great game.
Tinykin's so good.
Kirby's one of my favorite video game characters of all time, and he's a little guy in a little world. Like, little guy non-gendered, right? Like, little guy means any gender. Like, you don't have to be a guy to be a little guy. Anyone's a little guy.
Yeah, you be a little guy or a little fuck. It's all the same, you know? It's
totally.
A little
all right,
fuck.
all right.
That's the nice way to put it.
Yeah, that's what I say. My game, the last one for this round, Cozy, it's called Compensation Not Guaranteed. Now, the story behind this is that I like to go see what Togei's up to. Because
Toge's always got bangers every time.
So
Shout out
nice.
to Ari and the whole team. Like, they're the best.
that is the best thing. That's why I went to go see them. I was like, oh yeah, I just want to talk to Ari and see what's going on. So the game that I played was Compensation Not Guaranteed. About Togei's the people behind, you know, like Coffee Talk, and you know, it's probably the most famous thing.
Space
I think
for the Unbound.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff. But Compensation Not Guaranteed is, oh gosh, I wish I actually had my notes on me. It is basically a Papers, Please sort of a thing, where it is based on historical Southeast Asia, I think in the 60s. Let me find my notes if I can find them. Yeah, Singapore in the 1960s. And the idea is that you're all like these anthropomorphic animals and you're working for the government, and the government was taking people's land, like hey, you're not gonna have that, we're taking that, whatever, and you're basically doing the paperwork to see, do they get compensation for their land? Like, if their papers are incorrect, they don't get anything and they lose their homes or whatever. So it's the whole thing is like, I'm doing a bad thing, but I guess this is my job. I need to make sure it happens correct, to make sure your paper's correct, or you can go against that if you want, whatever. So again, very much paper please, like, I've got to check these papers and make sure that this is correct, and I'm screwing somebody over in the process, and there's not much I can do. But again, it's very much like this is a real historical event that they were bringing eyes to. And the art style is all like little paper puppets that like flip back and forth, and again, all these anthropomorphic animals. The interesting thing, though, in the demo is that there is a little bit of weird twist, because again, you're like hanging out with these people, and it's like, okay, this cat, you're taking away this cat's business. The paper was incorrect. Oh, but I'm an old person. I'm an old cat. I just need, anything would be great instead of, my husband's dead. And you're like, oh, what do I do in this situation? That kind of an idea. But then, like, in the demo, you have, like, weird dreams, like, after you do your job. And, like, some weird, real creepy shit starts going on. It's like, oh, they're like crazy-ass nightmares that's making me do evil things. So the demo is available. I think it's still, I know it was part of the Ludonero thing, I believe. So if it's still up, check that one out. But it's like, oh, I like this twist, and I like that gameplay style, because I love your name's spelled incorrectly, they switched the letters, sorry, no money for you. So I feel bad doing this demo, because obviously I think the idea is you would want to bend the rules to like help people out, but I'm like, I'm gonna do this like to the book. It's like, sorry, 70-year-old woman who's about to not have a home, your name is misspelled. You're not getting any money. Click. And I would just do it. I was like, God, I hope that he does that these people don't hate me here, because I'm doing it so much by the rule. But it's just fun to do that in that environment. So that was really fun. I really like that. And just cool. And again, awesome booth. They gave me, I got a Coffee Talk apron, which I thought was really cool.
That's awesome.
That's dope. I'm so jealous. I don't have a Coffee Talk apron.
Do you make coffee at home?
Yeah, I didn't get the tote bag. I didn't get the tote bag.
Oh, I got the tote bag, baby.
I got an
exciting.
apron instead.
I almost stole that from Danny the other day.
Your ass we could try. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I love Togei. I've been championing them for ages. But what I love about them is their games always have some kind of twist, but not in the general sense of like a shocking thing or the whole game turns on its head. But every game by them has something else going on. Coffee Talk has an underlying narrative that you don't know until you really get further in the game. A Space for the Unbound is full of that, and I haven't even finished it.
God.
And like even Krieg's Front, which is a tactics game, like I played the demo, and the whole beginning of the demo is like basically Colonizer the game, and I was like, what? Oh, like this feels very weird from them. But then the story turns on its head. It's not just that. There's more to it in this mech game than just taking over this indigenous area. And like I love that they think of games that way. They like them in Course Worldwide, they do such great work, and I will basically buy any game they put out sight unseen, because I've never played a bad game by them at this point.
This is another one that's been put on my radar by this conversation. So
hell yeah,
I am
go.
I am in.
Dope.
Yeah, I talked about a little bit on a couple weeks ago on the podcast for Ludo Naricon. I enjoyed it. I have a love-hate relationship with Papers, Please because I suck at it. I think I like visually the vibe of this one. I was still really bad at this one comparatively, but yeah, I do like this one, I think, more just because of the aesthetic, the funny animal designs and everything like that. Yeah, Toge. They got some bangers, dude. I was sitting down with Ari and playing games and everything. It was really fun. Toge,
Yeah.
Don't miss.
I don't know what game it was, but I think it was a game like this at PAX that has a personality test attached to it. So you do all these things, and then it's like, here's the kind of person you are.
Oof, I don't want to take that.
I don't think it was this
That's
game,
rough.
but it was basically the same thing where you like make, moral judgment calls based on a set of rules and situations.
Huh.
Ooh, I'm not sure what that one is.
Yeah, a little too personal.
Yeah. I took one of those and it said I was a sociopath. I don't really know how to feel about it. Actually, I don't feel anything about it.
I think,
Yeah, I mean, that seems
That's
in
a
line.
joke about being a sociopath, everybody. Let's have fun here.
Yay.
Next, we're going to
Been a
move on
good
to
test.
this is sort of more nebulous. I just wrote down wild PAX stories. So if there's anything else that happened at PAX that's just a thing you want to talk about, we can. I mean, maybe this is where we explain me and Danny's new relationship.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I would like to
Adam.
learn why one is a father and one is the son. Where's the Holy Spirit?
So, I've been talking to this lovely woman. She's great. She's awesome. While we were at Luke's engagement party, I did like, let me send the snap. She sent me a video of the party she was at. So let me send a video of the party that I'm at. And I end the video by just like zooming in on Adam. I'm like, Adam, punch the camera. And he goes to like punch and the video ends. So it wasn't even like the full like wham. It was just like a quick like just absolute just dumbness. I send this to her and like 10 minutes later, she's like, was that your dad?
Oh.
So I'm just like, nah, that's just my old ass friend Adam, like funny, goofy. So I'm like, yo, she called you old, and then he's like, I expect an apology. It was just telephone back and forth of like, she said this, and then Adam's like, you tell her I said this. I'm like, he's mad. She's like, I didn't say old, you said old. I'm like, Adam, I said old. He's like, son, I'm gonna. So now,
now
we went out to the
Stan's wearing a
Boston.
shirt that says Dad's favorite on it.
Yeah. Oh man, I gotta take the hoodie
Yeah,
off.
yeah. I
we
mean,
went
the
to, like,
listeners
here
couldn't
we go,
imagine
Dad.
it, but now there it is.
Dad's
Well,
favorite.
you
This
actually
was
do have
not
a dad's
plan.
favorite shirt.
Yeah.
That is hilarious. Oh, wow.
Completely coincidence. I was wearing it underneath something else that we took off earlier. But
It's the father-son bond, man. You can't break it.
exactly. But then like we went to the Boston Tea Party like gift shop for Asa to get some for his kids while on a trip. And while we're there, I'm like, Adam, I'm just gonna make a stupid video. So I like grabbed some dumb like fridge magnet. I'm like, Dad, can you buy this for me?
Wow.
Just totally plays into it. Just like ask your mom, like, she's not here. She's on the cruise with Tom. You're like, listen, we have 3 days left this weekend. Do not make it difficult for me, son. And it was just this back and forth. I'm like, it's great.
Is this
really
how you got
fun.
a free magnet out of Adam, though? Is that like the
No, he didn't buy it
subplot?
for me because he's a bad dad.
Listen,
I didn't mean that.
If you
obviously.
want, listen, your mom gets child support. If you want a magnet, go ask her for that child support money. You know what I'm saying? That's all good. No, we were having a great time. And that joke is just stuck for the last 2 weeks or however long it's been.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the other wild story we can share is that we created a new game. Danny talked about this on his pod too. I don't forget who shared the first photo, but it was someone on we have a group Discord for a bunch of indie creators.
I assume Jacob, but I don't know.
I think it was Jacob, but like, so the idea is like I wanted to create a Discord along with Roger Reichart and a few others for like indie creators, so we can like, share PR contacts, to reach out for game codes, to like.
And thank you for doing this. It's been great.
Share coverage, like share each other's work. It's hard to find an audience, and I am a big firm believer in a rising tide raises all ships. And so like it was just this idea to have this space where folks who aren't part of a large publication can still get their stuff out there. I have often asked for editing help there because I am a mediocre writer at best, and I am a worse editor. And so it's one of those things that like we created an event channel because we'd originally had like a Discord DM, but they cap out at 10 users, and we wanted to like collaborate for PAX East and make sure we could all hang out. And in the channel, I think as Jacob at one point shared maybe a photo of Joseph Hooper, really focused in on a game and just said locked in, like, and just making fun of Joseph. And so then it just became us spying on each other, sending photos of folks really locked in on something and not paying attention. Jacob at one point sent a photo of me from like across the street walking into the hotel. Like, I was like, dude, where are
This
you?
motherfucker did the same thing. Everyone was bouncing. Everyone's like, hey, I'm out I'm done. Like we still spent our Sunday there, but a lot of people were already leaving. And I'm standing outside the convention center at the end of the day. And Jacob sends locked in. I am standing outside the convention center with a whole separate group of friends. And I'm like, where the fuck are you? And I'm like looking around. I'm like, well, the pillars are there. So you have to be over there. I'm like, Jacob, where were you? He's like, oh, we were in the Uber. We just drive. I'm like, this bitch drove by and went, ka-chick, and then just went. And I'm like, I hate you for this, but this is awesome. I love this game because I had so many chances where I saw you guys playing games. I'm like, there's my friend, and just walked by.
Yeah,
then the game
totally.
started, and then I stopped seeing any of you.
Anybody.
I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
I can't play the game anymore because there's no pictures to take.
The one for me that was the most funny. Here's the thing: I took a picture of Danny playing a game before before this locked in thing even started. So once it started, it's like, by the way, I've got an old picture of Danny that I took that was really funny. The one that was for me was funny was Jill Grote took one of me, but it was so I was playing Swap Meet is what it was, which I don't think is on my list, but it's the thing that I did play. But the funny thing about it is that I don't know if she zoomed in or if she was this close, but in the picture, she appears to be 3 feet away from me. She was like directly standing next to me, and then I did not know she was there.
I had no idea.
And just said that. And after I finished the demo, I was like, "Oh shit, I'm locked in."
Is this amongst the pictures that you shared with me, or
I don't know if there's one in there or not.
So there's one of me playing Gigasword, and this basically I shared later. Like, someone got a photo of me.
Basically, if there's a photo of somebody staring at a screen, that's the idea of the locked in thing.
I might have sent the one Mike took at the panel that I'm like, what the fuck, Mike? I was even playing a game. He just took a picture of me on the stage.
There it is. He locked in on Gigasword. Yeah,
it looks like an esports picture of Adam because he's lined up with other people who also have their headphones, and they are also locked in on Swap Meet. So it looks like this is some kind of esports competition. You got me good, Adam, at dinner one night.
Oh yeah, when we were sitting across from each other.
I was on my phone because I got bored with people talking for a second, and I was like, just like, let me get some stuff done. And I'm like classic on the phone pose, and I'm deadpan into it. And I was like, oh man, you got me good.
Yeah, so like the notification pops up as you're looking at your phone of you being locked in, which I was like, this is going to be good. It was absolutely
it was solid.
Good. Yeah,
stupid. What a stupid fun thing.
It's so good. I hope
and then it continued. Like people were going home, sending photos of their pets locked in. Like it's, I really like. I think community is really important, and not to get too sappy for a minute, but like
get sappy, dude.
I started going to PAX East as a content creator in 2020. I was on a panel with Jesse Vitelli, Liana Rupert, Kenneth Shepard, Morgan Shaver. It was a BioWare panel. It was awesome. It was the first time I had a speaker badge. I hadn't even gotten a media badge yet. I met a ton of folks that weekend. Shout out to Matthew Finneman from SDGC. That year, I was a fan of their podcast. I hadn't really hung out with them a bunch, but they took me around, him and John Phipps, to meet a bunch of devs, a bunch of PR reps, and like gave me my foothold that I now use to this day to cover stuff in games. And so all I've wanted is to provide that for others. Shout out to Dave Jackson in chat. I dragged him kicking and screaming to literally any social event I can to try and get him to meet folks. But like, seriously, like that's what I want is like, I had this great conversation about a thing I can't talk about where I had this conversation yet, but I got to see a cool thing at PAX East. More on that later. But I was talking to the PR rep and like mentioned like, thank you for giving us this opportunity. Like, well, like we love the large outlets, but they're dwindling. And like folks like you with like 100 listeners, 200 listeners, whatever it is, they're the heart and lifeblood of these games because you're the real fans, right? Like, not to say that larger outlets aren't fans, but it's just smaller outlets are often people who just were doing this as a hobby and are still doing it as a hobby and aren't getting paid a ton of money. And like, they want to focus in on that. And, you know, I love that. And I want to focus in on that too. And my favorite thing about PAX East, and not a wild story, but a good story, is like hanging out with y'all and the rest of our crew. Like, that's the best part of it. I love playing the games. I love covering it. I love working on it for fun and games, but hang out with y'all, making dumb jokes, being idiots a couple times a year is easily one of my favorite parts. And PAX facilitates that, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, this year I was more social than I had been. I've been going to PAX for like 15 years. It's bad. I think it's been 2010. Only a couple as a creator. And this year was so, like, I made sure to let myself go out. And Matt, obviously, like, you know, we've always been hanging out like this at PAX. And it's just like to see how big all of this little group is. It's big and small at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I came home so jazzed because I knew I made a bunch of new friends. And I, you know, got to talk to people I wouldn't have spoken to otherwise. And I'm like, I'm going to make content with these people. I want to be the best version of myself for these people because this is great. And it really is just like, you know, you get sappy about it, but it's true. Like that was a missing piece for me. And I think this PAX and thusly our Hangouts reminded me of all that. It was so, my voice was blown out by the time we got to our panel.
100%.
I met Kate from No Small Games, and I was like, "Hey, what's up? How you doing?" But I was yelling it. I was like, "I don't sound like this," and she's in chat right now. And I was like, "You're gonna hear it. It's gonna be a totally different voice." And I think but it was. I just wanted to keep talking to people because that's what was going on.
Yeah, not to prolong it too much more because we're on it. Again, during the Luke's engagement party, we're all hanging out at this bar, right? We've done podcasts together, Matt and I, somehow more than ever before in the last 2 months.
And it continues.
But Katie was sitting there and she was talking about, here's a demo I played. I wasn't too high on this. And I think we were having a conversation about probably Claire Obscure. And then that died down. I was like, hey, sorry, you were talking about this. What was it? It was this. And then it was this balance back and forth of 8 to 9 people of no, I really like that part. No, that part was really bad. I can't believe that's in the demo. And I was like, fuck, this hits so different being in the same room doing this, right? Because last year was a lot more, nice to meet you. You talk video games? I talk video games. It's really cool. This was cool. We cut the bullshit. We already know each other. And it was just there. And I remember texting friends oh my God, it's I knew they were my people, but my people are in front of me and I'm, oh my God, we're sharing the same oxygen. It's fucking amazing. And it's so great just to be around you guys for PAX. And we'll see if Wes is in the cards because now other things are coming up that I still don't know if I can talk about.
I was looking at it's going to be tough, man. I want to, but oh my gosh.
Echo all of that. Funny thing about losing my voice, I was actively talking to Mike Towndrow, and my voice disappeared as I was speaking to him and Kelsey. So I was like, yeah, we're talking about Randy Orton's print. And it's like, oh, wow, that's wild that happened like that. And also, we can talk about that we saw the 6-1 thing. We can't just talk about what's in it, correct? Yes.
Yep.
Also super fun, cool. Again, I love the 6-1 crew. Shout out to Mike, Kelsey and Kyle, Harry. I mean the whole crew.
All of them, even the ones who aren't there.
Harry. I love Harry. Come on.
Yeah, screw that guy.
But being able to see the 6-1 Indie Showcase early is a cool fucking thing. And then just being in the room with the people we were with and seeing the reactions of people, it's like, oh man, this shit's super fucking cool.
Sarah in our episode, not to spoil our episode coming out on Friday, but Sarah said that was one of her favorite moments the whole weekend was because also that crew, we get to watch that stuff online until there's chats or whatever, but being in the same room, we all started snapping after every trailer because we didn't want to clap too loud. And then there's
poetry.
But also being in that room and having Mike Towndrow stare me down because there's a game about to be shown that he knows I'm about to lose my shit for. And once y'all watch the showcase, which is tomorrow as of when you're hearing this, this Thursday, if you're watching it now, you'll know also if you know me and have shared oxygen with me in any space that this game is the one indie game I'm looking forward to. But yeah, no, it was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. Even going to the Indie Game Awards live in New York, which Dan was with me here in New York for that was also awesome. Serious shout out to 6-1 Indie doing some of the coolest stuff in the indie gaming space and lifting everyone up with them. Full stop, hands down.
You know what's so funny? We were at the West End for after PAX Hangs, and I think it was Mike was wearing the shirt, the 6-1 Indie shirt, and I know 6-1 Indie well. I've seen the logo millions of times, but in that moment, I was like, I know that logo. What game is that? What game is that? And I kept going back to it, and meanwhile, the logo is literally plastered on him.
Yeah,
I just could not place it. After I was like, "Oh, I'm such a fool."
You watch the showcase, "Oh, that's where it's from."
Well, I opened Blue Sky later that evening. I was like, I'm following them, and I'm like, oh, duh.
Love those guys to death.
Yeah, it was so
6-1's great.
Totally
good stuff. All right, so for our last patch of games. I don't have a video for this one, so I'm very sorry. Whoever has this, you can just tell us what it is. Revenant's Reach.
Yep. So that one is mine, but also know Matt's super gung-ho on that one.
Yep.
So this was an interesting one, right? Because I know I had passed it, and their booth was nothing spectacular. It was a black curtain, a table with a black curtain, and 2 laptops. Yep. So if you walk by this, I don't think you have the idea of what this game is. But it is 2D platformer that does a lot of like cool 3D stuff with like parallax and like maybe voxels. I don't know the technology behind it there. But it's like a Dark Souls meets Celeste kind of mobility and locomotion. It is sick. Yeah, unfortunately there's no trailer yet. I wish there was, because I want people to see. There's a GIF, and it still really shows off what this game is. But a trailer, I think, is like, if they could just throw one together like really, really quick, I think this will help their Steam page so much, because Kanaya played this game before me. I didn't get around to it until I think it was Saturday, like early afternoon. But this game is sick. It's challenging. I died so many times, but I think that is, I am not a Dark Souls fan. I am very much a Celeste fan. So you put me on this fence of like, I want to care this much, but I don't want to care for this side. And really, it's an aesthetic thing for the Dark Souls plus the challenging, because it is the, I died, let me go back and do it again, like instantly. I'm not dying going back to a bonfire 15 minutes away that I have to battle through the whole level again. But it's got this heavy combat to it. There's sub weapons you can use. Once you charge up a meter, there's like the Smash Bros up, down, side combos you can do. The final boss is like this intense dude in armor. You can grapple up and swing on hooks and dash it. Like, there's all these mobility things that are so, again, Celeste coded, but having this heavy medieval style to it. Like, it is such a sick idea. And again, some people love it, some people don't. They're like, it's this mixed with this, and that's where you get our game. That's the immaculate baby of these two franchises. But yeah, this just exudes that so well. And sitting at the booth, right, where I sat down with Joe from the trophy room, like him and I were playing at the same time. And it was great seeing the developer kind of pop into him like, hey, don't forget you have this. By the way, hey, don't forget to jump. And like, just like between the two of us of like, hey, you could tell he had watched so many people play this and struggle to complete it. Where I was like, I'm going to get it. I'm just sucking at this. I got to get the move down. But yeah, dude, Revenant's Reach, like, if the devs are hearing this, let no rush, throw a trailer together. I think people need to see what your game is, because your game is fucking fantastic. And I think having the opportunity, there we go. There's some footage.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's on Steam. You can wishlist it. No, I mirror everything Danny said. The thing that was cool to me is, so side-scrolling pixel art games typically, when you get to one screen, the screen washes, right? Like it scrolls. This doesn't. When you're in a tower, so when you get to one edge of the screen turns around a corner. And it's cool. It's such a cool effect that I've never seen in a game that I can think of. That's not true. It's very similar actually to what Fez used to do, right? When you go around. It's like that kind of thing. But like the combat, again, I'm not a huge, like, I'm coming around as a Dark Souls fan, much to Dave's joy. And I've played a few of the games and enjoyed it. But what I loved about the combat here is the mobility was part of the Dark Souls combat. Like when you broke people's characters' posture, you could use your grappling hook to like cut them in half. But generous checkpoints. The thing that made this game great is generous checkpoints. Whenever I died, I only spawned like 3 platforms back. Like you don't lose a lot of ground, which is basically a Celeste thing also, right? Generous checkpoints. Yep. I think that's what makes this game a game I would play. If it were Dark Souls in the sense that you had to run back from far away, then I probably would have fell off it. It would be for someone else. But because the checkpoints are so generous, I will absolutely play this when it comes out. And it's taking the kind of thing that like the 2D HD RPGs have been doing for a long time and applying it to a side-scrolling platformer in a way that I think really works in a way that I wasn't expecting. Yeah, I'm with Danny. I can't recommend this game enough.
I think as I was wrapping up the demo, I mentioned, he was like, do you play like challenging platformers? And I was so out of it. I'm like, sometimes, yeah. And then wrapping up, I'm like, cool, I've locked it. I've beaten the game. And I told him how many times I've beaten Cuphead. And I'm like, cool, I'll speed run Cuphead an hour and a half just for the shits and giggles so I have time on stream. Like, I love Cuphead. And I could see getting to that first boss and being like, I know I can clown on this guy if I know his entire moveset. I know he's doing this. I could jump and grab and move here. And like, when this game comes out, I don't know that I'll play it 50 times like I did Cuphead, but I will get to that point where I'm like, cool, I clown on this boss because I know exactly what he's going to do, where he's going to jump, where he's going to swing at me, and just feel like a god at this game that I'm honestly probably pretty mediocre at, but I'm going to feel like a god.
Once again, didn't see this game at all. Thank you guys for putting it on my radar, and it is totally my shit. This is exactly what I look for in video games. It looks so good. Like, these look like Castlevania level sprites. And then they just like, here's a 2.5D world. Let's just be awesome. And I'm going to play the hell out of this when I can.
Please do. Everybody.
Yeah,
watch
do
it
it.
now.
No. Next up, I was not expecting to like this one. I liked it a lot and was very surprised. Missile Command Delta. So Atari has a booth at PAX East. They normally do. And, I looked over there. I'm just like, okay, there's some cool Atari stuff. That's whatever. But then I was on Blue Sky, and Dave Proctor of Mighty Yell was like, by the way, Mighty Yell helped make an Atari game called Missile Command Delta, and you guys should check it out if you're at PAX. And I was like, ooh, I like Dave Proctor, so let me go see.
Say we all.
What is going on? And it's basically this is perfect timing for this explanation. So it's you play like strategy, like turn-based sort of missile command ideas, where like you have these missiles that go a certain distance, and you're trying to stop the other missiles from hitting a metaphorical city. We don't know if it's real. We don't know if it's not or whatever. But that's the basic idea. It's like you're playing strategy turn-based missile command to stop,
Whoa.
That's the gameplay. It's like, oh, this is why it's missile command, because you're playing these strategy games. The other thing that's different is that there's a story to it where you're a group of teenagers who go into a bunker and get locked in it, sort of like war games, right? Where they're like, they don't know if they're like really doing a war or if it's just fake or whatever. So you're locked in a bunker. You're doing a war games, and it's sort of like Blueprints because you're just walking around. It's basically an escape room. You're walking around this bunker, finding clues, picking stuff up, finding, a key. I found a blue key card. It was underneath the thing in the kitchen, and I went there and found it, and that'll open up this, and this poster has this number on it, and that number will open up. So it's like, oh, it's Blueprints, and then you play strategy missile command whenever you're not doing the Blueprints walk around the bunker thing. And I'm like, tell me what's a really fucking cool idea, mixing escape room Blueprints with strategy base missile command. That game was awesome, and I had no idea anything about it until I saw that post, and I was like, yo, this game fucks. I really, really liked Missile Command Delta. I don't know if there's a release date or anything on it, but
July.
Cool.
It comes out this July, yeah.
Check it out, because I was very shocked, and it is very, very cool.
Yeah. I mean, I will basically play anything that Mighty Yell makes. Like, I loved the Big Con. I'm very excited about All System Dance, which still doesn't quite have a release date yet, but is in the works. This also, like, my favorite thing about Atari, not to tangent too far, is how they've grown to mix up and remix their brands. I played Yars Rising last year. I think I'm one of, 10 people who played it. I wish more people played that game, but it is a Metroidvania with hacking mini games that basically play like Yars Revenge from the Atari 2600, and it's like a bubblegum pop aesthetic, cyberpunk kind of neo-future world. It's developed by Way Forward, so it's got the snarky writing that you'd come to expect from like the Shantae games. It's so good. The music absolutely slaps. It just came to Spotify. Like bubblegum pop, J-pop, can't recommend enough. And so, to hear that Atari is continuing that, I thought Yars Rising might be kind of some one-off, let's try this. But the fact they're continuing to build their franchises into modern games and mix them up, I'm so excited. I didn't get to play this, but I watched a few people play it, and it's it jumped to the top of my list also. It looks so dope.
I kept passing their booth when I was going to Soulmates.
Yeah.
And I kept looking. I love their setup. It was so simple, but it looked like a little bit of a Missile Command kind of bunker sort of situation.
Okay.
The only other time I really interacted with Atari's recent stuff was when they came launch something Marslander, I think it was. Where
the new Lunar Lander they
Lunar
did.
Lander, thank you.
Okay.
Not Mars, a little closer. That game is a cool reimagining, and to your point, Matt, they're just reimagining their old franchises and they're not getting stuck in the old ways of it, and it's just, this is an extreme example of that. I think it's really cool. Did not play it, but am excited for it all the same.
Dope. All right, we have two more. Skateboard Night is that one of two. I do not know whose game this is, and I don't
This
think
one
I've seen
is
anything.
mine.
Okay, I don't think I've seen anything about this.
So this one is another Playism published game. I sat down because it had a cute little chibi knight on a skateboard, and I was like, I'm in. It's a little guy. let's go. I talked about this earlier. And basically what it is it's a like kind of vampire survivor like auto runner. It has like 3 or 4 lanes, and you basically are a knight on a skateboard with a sword. You do a shockwave with your sword to kill enemies. You gain jewels. As you gain jewels, you learn new abilities. You unlock more abilities to kill more enemies, to get more jewels, so on and so forth. Each area ends in a boss fight. It's got a world map. It seems to have a pretty standard progression. I didn't get a game over at any point, so I don't know if it's roguelike or anything. I think it's just standard progression. But basically, it's like if you like games like Vampire Survivors, like those kinds of like auto battler kind of games, this is a cute one of those that like the progression felt good at the end of every stage. You can buy health potions, you can buy more upgrades. It's got this cute little twee aesthetic. Like I really dug it. I really loved it. It's got like a really cool design, really awesome imaginative pixel art. And like the boss fights are challenging, but not impossible. There's strategy to it. And like you just unlock stages as you go. It gives me kind of also like a Shovel Knight Dig kind of vibe as far as the progression goes, and the style. So and so I really liked it, and I wanted to feature it because I feel like not a lot of folks talked about it. And I don't typically like these kinds of games, like admittedly, as much as I've yapped everywhere else about Desktop Survivor 98, which we'll probably touch on a little later. I've never played Vampire Survivors. Ever. I probably should, because I'm sure I would like it. But like I played this and I went, well, now I understand why folks like these kind of auto battle games. Like they're fun, they're satisfying. And so, I wanted to give it a shout here because it's just another game that Playism is publishing that like has a vibe that I really dig.
I played the heck out of this at Playism's booth. The same exact story, Matt, where I was just like, what is this? This is cute. All right, sure. Skateboard night. 2 cool things. And the thing I loved about it was the boss fights. Like you said, they're simple, but there's patterns and you gotta be careful. And all you're doing is moving this knight between 3 lanes. So there's no, like, you can't choose when to attack. You can't dodge. You just have to move up or down. And the boss fights were really creative to deal with such a simple mechanic. And then on top of that, depending on, I guess you would call it a roguelite because you're choosing somewhat randomized perks, but depending on what perks you choose, the game starts to profile what kind of knight you are, and then I think you'll hit like level 20, I think it was, and you'll evolve essentially into a more focused knight. Like I got mage knight because I was using magic, because magic went through enemies, and I was like, that's pretty sick. But depending on what skills you choose and you'll get different knight focuses, and it could be a great mobile game. Damn. You know what I mean? And it's one of those games.
This is actually coming to mobile as well, it looks like. So it totally makes sense.
Yeah, it would be so good for that. So if they're not doing that, please do that, because it's so simple. But I played it and I was like, oh, I'm almost done. Like my demo's over.
Can we go again?
Good time. Yeah, it's good times. It's adorable.
Yeah, this is one I missed, and you guys are selling me heavy on it. It's on the wish list. There's a demo on Steam now, so that's downloaded. Yep. So it's
coming out next year at some point, I think.
Okay.
Which
there's no official release date, but I think next year is the target.
It's funny because it felt so polished. Obviously, it probably just add content, but I feel like with all the games Playism had, they had 6 games at this PAX.
6,
it might actually just be like, we have to release this game later because what are we just going to release all our games in 1 year? Like that's not going to. So that's solid.
All right, and moving on to our last game, top 12 games, number 12. You didn't see this one coming. Tanuki Pawn's Summer, which is a banger. I don't know whose this is, but it's very good.
Certified. I think I chose it. And I obviously chose it because I knew we all had to talk about it. We couldn't get through this conversation. I put it on the table, but it is our game, everybody. Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
You play as a Tanuki, delivery Tanuki. Do not call it a raccoon, by the way. It's actually
does not like that.
It's somewhat offensive, I think. It's,
okay.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where it's like, of course we would do that, Americans. But you play as a delivery Tanuki, and you bring packages to people, which then results in a mini game. But you're also a BMX trick riding Tanuki, getting around town, grinding on rails, pulling some sick gnar, whatever that means. I think that's a surfing term.
Sure,
I'm not a surfer or a BMXer.
Hey, cross-platform, it's fine.
It's adorable.
Yeah, totally.
It looks like any good PS2, maybe even PS3 game. Like, it's just got that aesthetic, but it's also just the controls are tight. There's like a bunch of different mini games that all relate to each delivery, which I didn't really get into because it's a demo and I was really embarrassed. I was like playing so bad at the booth. And you got the developer there, Liam. I think he's like the chief developer on it, and Dave.
Yep.
And who's the PR, and it was I was doing bad, so I was like, oh, cool game. And obviously there's no demo yet, but I mean, look at this graphics for people who can watch this stuff. It's just a cute game. Baseball, what are you talking about? It's so
excited.
Good.
Yeah. It's basically a Miyazaki movie meets like a cute little like cozy game.
Yeah. Plus Tony Hawk.
Plus Tony Hawk. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd harken into Meek and the Witch's Mountain. We were talking like it's very like you're exploring and delivering packages, less flying, but like I think the biking part is definitely going to be I have to sit on my own and really get good at it. Like, I have someone watching me. I'm doing terrible at this, but seeing the ability to go from you pick up your package at the post office and you do like the Resident Evil, like turn the Tetris pieces and fit all of your inventory together. You go out to your place, you have the story. And one of the things I told Liam before leaving is like, I love that these are not just NPCs to drop off a thing and start a mini game. Like the demo, I assume we all did the sumo wrestling mini game. Okay. I assume it took us all the same spot. But you meet this guy, he's just like, I used to be a sumo wrestler, I retired, I missed the game, but imagine a world where I could train the first Tanuki to be like a sumo wrestler, right? And that's how your mini game starts. You have this whole like punch out interaction, how to build up stamina, how to fight, how to dodge, etc. And it is so fun that it's like this unique gameplay experience, but also that it is not just here's a piece of gameplay, have fun with it and move on. Like there is a narrative, there's a reason you're doing it. And then I think they're like, there's 3 more we can do. This demo will be on Steam soon. Yeah. Asterisk next to what soon means. But I know I'll be downloading because I want to see what those other 3 gameplay segments feel like and look like. I want to hesitate a little bit because I know if I go and play it 3 times in a row, I'm like, by the time this comes out, I'm like, I've already played this. Maybe I should back off a little bit. But earlier when I said like there were 2 that would have been my game of show, and it was Tanuki and Gigasword, and Tanuki was so much fun. It's such a pretty and just vibrant experience. And we talked, I think, with Liam a little bit about like some of the characters are gonna, there's gonna be mental health things we'll discuss, and how how they're dealing with that, and how you're going to help them deal with that. And I think that's gonna be a fun thing fun may not be the right word, but an interesting thing to explore.
Effective,
yes. So I think that'll be great.
Yeah, they're targeting late 2025, as the trailer says. This is by DenkiWorks, and so Liam Edwards was the lead dev, maybe even the solo dev, I don't remember, on Curse to Golf, which is a game I love but doesn't love me. I'm just bad at it.
The game is tough.
But like Liam Edwards, like shout out to Liam Edwards. He's one of the few developers that we met in our early career as media going to PAX that like immediately remembered us when we saw him this year. Like was super, super kind and super sweet. Says he loves the podcast, which I'm inclined to believe, but who knows? No, I'm kidding. I love you, Liam. But was really lovely. And then there's this game that's awesome. And it's like, I like Curse to Golf a lot, but it's not my thing. This is my thing. This nonsense is absolutely my thing. Like we're going to get cute hats for the Tanuki. We're going to get different outfits. We're going to get to like do mini games. Like I'm all in on this. And like, it plays so well. The minute I picked up the controller, it played exactly as I expected. Like I didn't struggle with any of it. And the best part is like, there are Tony Hawk trick style mechanics, but they're not required. They're a bonus. You just got to get the packages to where they're going. You don't have to do them. And I think that was by design. Like they want people to be able to play this game. They want it to be accessible. And I'm stoked for it. It was also up there as one of my favorites. It was Sarah from Fun and Games, Sarah's game of show. And I agree. It's awesome.
Yeah. The sum of its parts, each of those parts are so strong on their own, but then you put it together and you have this game that I feel like is going to be so memorable when it comes out.
Yeah.
Because of that, like they were like, let's just throw this in there and make it fun and make it fit. And I'm excited to see it continue to take shape as hopefully we get a demo soon. I'm really excited for that. But I'm practicing patience. So
very cool. So there's 12 games. Again, thank you all 3 of you for coming and joining me. Thank you, Cozy, for running this stuff. As we're winding down, just want to do 2 things. I would say wish list, because every time you go to these things, they always tell you like that is the most important thing. It doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps developers out. So wish list anything that sounds cool. And also just shout out to all the PR people and the people running the booths and stuff, because like sometimes it's like I'm the guy who made the game and here I am, and sometimes it's like I'm just a PR person and I'm here for 3 days, but I'm they all make it run and they make it fun. So I really quick to that, I want to name off everything that I played that I was not able to talk about just really quickly, just because I want to give shout outs to all these people who like took their time to deal with my bullshit. Let's see. You talked about these Windows 98 Defender. Is that what it's called?
No, it is
Desktop Survivors.
Desktop Survivor
98, which everyone check that out. That's a pretty cool one. Yes, it's exactly what you think it is. Clippy is out to kill you. Among Us 3D. Sorry, excuse me. Among Us 3D was fun. Never played it before. Shout out Behemoth. I make that appointment every time just because I like to go hang out with people at the Behemoth, regardless of what they're actually showing. Yep. Dune Awakening, shocked how much I was like, actually kind of fuck with this. Because it's the thing where like, I won't play survival game for like, it's the thing where like everyone plays Minecraft for like 1 week a year just because they're like, we feel like playing Minecraft. And I played Dune. I was like, ooh, I could get into this for 2 weeks a year. This will be fun. Ultimate Sheep Raccoon, super fun. That's the Ultimate Chicken Horse follow-up where
very cool.
Same idea, but you're all on BMX bikes this time. That one was really, really good. Airframe Ultra, that was part of my Acapura.
It was next to Gigasword.
Yeah, it's the one next to Gigasword during that appointment. That one is really cool. It's like a PS1 aesthetic, but you are doing like what's the anime that everyone likes with the slide?
Akira?
It's
Akira.
like you're like on Akira motorcycle, air bikes or whatever, like doing PS1 like races, and then you'll get to a spot where you get off the bikes and beat the shit out of each other and then keep racing. It's very, very cool. I liked it a lot. And then Swap Meet, which we talked about, which I played at the Mix at West and then played it again here. Enjoy that. That's very much a again, a Risk of Rain sort of like, let me go down, do some objectives and evacuate kind of a deal. And then Wingspan, shout out to the developers over there. It was at the Polish booth or whatever, that area. And Wingspan is
games from Poland.
Wingspan is a tabletop game that they turned into a video game. Which friends I know, they like it, and they had DLC. It's what they were showing off. I feel so bad for this lady. I didn't get her name, but I was like, she's like, have you ever played it before? I was like, no, I haven't. I know it's cool. She's like, cool, let me teach you how to play Wingspan for your 30-minute appointment. And it was awesome. She did all that. And I was like, I feel bad because I'm like, do you do this like constantly where you're like, hey, there's DLC here, but I need to teach these people how to play the game? She's like, yes, all day.
Right.
And I'm like, thank you for your service because this game is super cool. And I'm sorry that you had to teach me a whole game mechanic. But those were some of my appointments on top of the other stuff we've talked about. So shout out to all those people. It was super fun, and I very much enjoyed my time. Great time. I really go to PAX. 80% is for hanging out with people like y'all, but the games are also very fun for that other 20%, so it's very nice.
This is true. Yeah, there's a couple that we didn't mention that I want to shout out really quick that we'll have interviews for in our ep at the end of the week. Perfect Tide Station to Station was really awesome. It was a sequel. It's a point-and-click adventure. Jeff was really excited about it because he knows the creator from Octopus Pie. It was a webcomic that she did for many years before becoming a game developer, solo dev. Was really fun, really interesting. The writing was great. I finally played Corgi's Cozy Hike, which is just like short hike plus Corgi. I fell in love with it immediately. Really good. White Knuckle, Jeff's game of show. Unbelievably cool. I am so bad at it, but it is such a cool, it's a rock climbing roguelike horror game. Really neat. Bamut and the Wak Wak Tree is like an underwater exploration game. Also really great. We got an interview with that dev. Really awesome stuff. And then I briefly mentioned it earlier, but Nocturne, which is a different kind of rhythm RPG with a really interesting and weird story about after being uploaded to a computer simulation in your afterlife and something goes wrong. Really neat. So those are just a couple others I wanted to shout out to.
I wasn't ready for shout outs, but hey, I got Bogdan's Cross, which is a dope one from PAX Rising. Very short 5-minute snippet, but the developer, every model is made in Quill, which is like a VR 3D software, all imported into Blender, rigged, everything, and then animated. Cutscenes immaculate, very Spider-Verse frame rate type of deal. Super sick looking game. And then came up earlier, but didn't talk too much about it. Nocturne, the other PAX Rising game I got to play. Rhythm RPG, that's a lot more of the Guitar Hero. The notes are coming down and you're building up an energy bar to then attack the monster in the middle of the screen. Super sick. I'm sure there's something else from PAX I'm not thinking about on any of my lists, but a lot of great games, a lot of dope games.
My lightning round picks are, I got 3 of them. There's Hell Clock, which is
I played that one too. That one was pretty fun.
Right? It was like they refer to it as a bite-sized action RPG. You're fighting off. It's based on a real war that happened in Brazil called the War of Canudos or something. It's a dark fantasy take on that, so it's not like a historical recreation, but it is based on a real event, which I thought was a wild and interesting thing. There's Tire Boy, which actually isn't even on Steam yet. You play as a tire boy. It's a tire with legs and arms. So one hand you roll around as a tire, and the other hand you're just running around. You can get a sword. You fight snails and you meet fish people, and it's weird and also Sonic Adventure. It's all over the place. And then Outrider Mako, which was another playism game because they just had a bajillion games. A top-down action adventure where you're delivering. This is more of a you're delivering items, but you're kind of doing like mini quests, like get 10 rocks, get 10 gemstones, bring them to this person, and then I think you get new abilities as the game goes on. But there's combat. It's really nice pixel art. I had a little trouble with the demo, but I think it's because I just, for some reason, thought I had to change the controller mappings, and I'm like, what am I doing? Stop! Like, and I made the game crash. So that's cool. So, but that was on me, not them. But yeah, those 3 games stuck out for me for sure.
Dope. So as we get here cozy, I'm going to let everyone do their things, but I will say, if you can find a picture that is entirely blue and pink and looks like a hellscape, if you can pull that picture up for us as everyone does their thing, because it's just a thing I want to shout out that they did at PAX. So
did you send this to the group photos? Where can I find this?
It's just one of the photos that I sent in the iCloud, but it's you'll know when you see it. Dan, give everyone thanks everyone for coming on the awesome show. Course. Dan, give us your plugs and we'll get out of here.
Just find me on YouTube, youtube.com/Danomak. If you really want to see my thoughts, go to Blue Sky, danomak.tv. And I stream on Twitch sometimes, but that's not important. Well, we'll get there.
All right, Danny.
Yo, you can find me at CGDannyB, YouTube, main platform these days. We do Playlog Podcast that comes out every Thursday. Sure, we talk all things indie game news, reviews, whatever we choose. We did our PAX coverage this past week, so that's already up. This week we're doing an episode on our top 10 favorite Metroidvanias, which I'm looking forward to talking about with Topher. Are we talking about The Messenger? You bet your ass we are.
Hell yeah, let's go.
We are, baby. Just in time for that Sea of Stars DLC. And then, I make content on TikTok, short forms, indie previews, and then we stream on Twitch on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. By the time this comes out, I think we're streaming you said it's this week coming out?
This comes out Wednesday, yeah.
This comes out, cool. Then Thursday following this, I'll be playing the Sea of Stars DLC. And then Saturday, we're playing Nubs Arena, which is a new party game that's insane and annoying, but also really fun. So yeah, if you like indie games, I'm right here.
Oh, and Matt.
Real quick, is this the photo?
Yep,
yes.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
baby.
That's
That's my picture from the Red Bull Critter Club.
Yeah,
Look at
dude.
that.
Yeah. That was a thing that happened.
It was.
Too much Red Bull.
I'm Matt, aka Stormageddon, also Matt Storm. I am a podcaster primarily. I also stream sometimes. You can find everything that I do at djstormageddon.com. I'm also djstormageddon.com on Blue Sky and DJ_Stormageddon on Instagram. I don't use Twitter because fuck Elon Musk. As for my podcast, the 2 shows that I'm primarily working on these days is Reignite, which is a play-along podcast, started as a Mass Effect podcast for me and my co-host Frankie Bradley Lestrange, talking about the choices we would make if we were Commander Shepard, and more importantly, what aliens we would romance and smooch, because that's what really matters in that game. Then we moved on to Mass Effect Andromeda, which I had never played, but Frankie had. That was a blast. And now we are playing through the Dragon Age series. We are currently playing through Dragon Age 2 as of this recording. So if you want to come hang out and listen to us talk about what fantasy characters we'd like to smoots and other things like protecting the mages at all cost, you can go check out Reignite. It's on all podcast platforms. And then the other show I do, where all these lovely humans have been a guest one way or another, is called Fun and Games. I host it with the incredible Jeff Moonen. And as when you're listening to this, if you're listening to it, the date came out this Friday, you'll be able to hear our PAX East coverage. We talk about our top, me, Jeff, and our associate producer, Sarah Moonen, talk about our top 3 games that we saw at PAX East, as well as some other cool stuff. And Fun and Games, the broad pitch, is a topic-based video game podcast. Sometimes we do console retrospectives. Sometimes we interview developers, composers. Sometimes we'll talk about side questing in games. We'll talk about grinding in RPGs, all sorts of different kind of broad topics. And then we have a short form series also within that feed called Side Quests, which all of you have done episodes for. And that is basically the premise is every game is somebody's favorite, good, bad, or indifferent. Doesn't matter. Everybody loves a video game. And this is an opportunity for people to talk about a game they love free of judgment, just monologue for 5 to 15 minutes about a game that's really important to them. As when we're recording, I just done an episode not that long ago on Tecmo Bowl, which is an NES game. I lost my dad last year, and this is a game, one of the few video games we played together all the time. So it's fun to talk about this awesome football game and maybe get a few tears in the process. But it was a really great rediscovering of a game I loved and a person important to me, but also, if you're listening to this and you're like, hey, I'd like to talk about a video game for 5 to 20 minutes, you can hit me up on Blue Sky. We literally will have anyone on as long as you can record your voice and send it to me. We're happy to have you cover a game, so come check that out. And I think that's it. Probably, I truncated it a bit. You know, it's shorter than I think than the last time.
So you have a couple of projects going on there.
Yeah, you know, working on stuff.
Thank you guys for coming. This is Respawning Fire. Chad normally has a sign off. I don't have one. I don't care. The post-credit scene here. Cozy, bring back up this picture because we're going to talk about this. This is just, if you made it this far, you're a real one. Cozy, bring this picture
it
up
right now. Just give me.
So what the backstory is that Red Bull like sponsored part of like the PAX media room or whatever. I mean, Red Bull's very heavily shows up at PAX. So they had a separate room.
Just so I understand, this is not the media room.
No, this is
next door.
This is the Red Bull Creators Lounge.
Yeah, baby.
This is just
like media room 2.
Yeah, it's the second one. Basically, you went in there. I went in the first day at 10 a.m. They had a DJ playing from 10 a.m. until the show floor closed. The room is bathed in a purple, blue neon lights. And again, there's a DJ playing the whole time. You go in there and you can get a mocktail, which is some sort of slushy-ish thing with that you can put Red Bull in. Let me tell you, this is ridiculous. But it was kind of cool because when you have a migraine and your head is hurting and it's like 3 p.m. on a Friday, listen, any neurologist will tell you like either you're dehydrated and you need water or your brain needs caffeine, and getting a sugar-free Red Bull from the Red Bull Creator Lounge at 3 p.m. cleared my headache up and I was good for the rest of the day.
Wow.
No problem. So shout out to Red Bull.
Don't go in there. I was about to say, don't go in there overstimulated at all, because that room like is you got a driving arcade machine set up on one end of the room. There's a person doing portraits of you on the other side of the room, which was the only thing I wanted to do there, by the way. I was like, oh, I want to get my portrait done. It's kind of cool. Why not? Right? And I didn't, because I was busy.
I walked into the doorway of that room, went, I'm too old for this shit, and turned right around.
No, I soaked it in for a second. I was like, I don't belong here, and I like that.
I'm out of place.
It was crazy, but again, mocktails, not bad. Sugar from Red Bull, not bad. Yeah, I'll take it.
This particular picture, this individual made an entire mural throughout the entirety of PAX. So this is
that
like
thing gets filled by the end. Yeah.
1.5. It's full now. I don't know what's up with it now.
So did any of us get a final shot? I went in the first day. If there was a moment any of you were in there, I probably would have stuck around. But I think every time, I don't know anybody here.
I knew no one in there too. I was like, there's people hanging on the bar. I'm like, what is a bar doing? Come on, man. What's going on over here? But every time I walked in, I saw no one that I tangentially knew.
Yeah.
I was out.
It is a crazy idea, but I like it. I like how stupid it is.
No, it's dope.
Yeah, totally.
It's wonderful.
I liked having mini fridges in both creator rooms, so no matter what, we had Red Bull to grab.
What a ridiculous.
And they gave you 2 Red Bull when you picked up your media or press or content creator badge. Like, here's Red Bull. I'm like, I'm sorry, why? I don't drink caffeine anymore. He's like, well, I gave it to the Soulmates developer. So
Adam gave me his off the rip.
Like,
he said, here you go, buddy.
The question was, who did you give your Red Bull to? That was like,
right, exactly.
Oh my God, wonderful. But again, thank you guys. And usual sign off. Go get a sugar-free Red Bull. What
real
goes
quick,
in? Go ahead.
Real quick, if I can do some proper
Interrupt me.
final Well, I mean,
No, go.
hey,
I'm fucking with you. Please
it's
go
the end
ahead.
of the podcast, so I can afford to interrupt you a little bit. Our barf game for the month of May is, of course, Hollow Knight. We will be reviewing it at the end of the month, so play alongside us, send in your thoughts for us to read on the show, or who knows, maybe you can even invite yourself on the show and join us on our review. And remember that if you are a subscriber to our Patreon, you currently have early access to After Dark Episode 4, where I share more stories from my recent vacation to Japan, and Adam and Joel attempt to find video game developers that may or may not have photobombed my vacation. So go and check that out.
Thank you, Cozy. Do you want to give me a sign off? Say something in French.
Bonjour.
Okay, I'm stopping recording.
What's that mean?
And there we go. We're playing.